knowledge in the Word, and it's been a little while since we've done one, and good to see you again. Well, I guess the aliens are here now, so we know that. That's what they're saying, and Book of Revelation is very clear on what it talks about, and that angels would be cast to the earth, and it would be the devil and his angels. So let's just keep things in perspective, and they won't tell you that, of course. So if they came from other planets, then where are they? Who made them and each one of them? So each one question gets to the next, and they won't ever be able to answer it because it's in God's Word. So, well, the Maui fires, right? Yeah, that's really managed well by I love that word, authorities, the authorities, the authors, right, of stupidity, right, the author. Yeah, they are the authors of that. That is absolutely correct. I love how that the same fella that was in charge of the Las Vegas, bang, 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 is the same guy in charge of this nonsense that he had his own police turn back people from the only exits. Oh, wow. Well, anyway. Well, that kind of bears witness with this knucklehead, Eric Adams, the mayor, and he's bringing up a valid point, but he doesn't bring up the point that it's his boss that is allowing this. He's blaming the Texas governor, because the Texas governor is against Mayor Adams's boss, and he doesn't want people coming into his country and into his ranchers and property and stealing and shooting and thieving and just defecating and leaving everything. So Eric Adams, listen to this knucklehead right here. This is just amazing, because I don't know where people's brains are, but again, they are the sheeple that follow these kind of shepherds that lead them into destruction.
We turned this city around in 20 months. And then what happened? Started with a madman down in Texas decided he wanted to bus people up to New York City. 110,000 migrants. We have to feed, clothe, house, educate the children, wash their laundry sheets, give them everything they need, health care. And this team here, we stated, let's do everything possible before we have to push it out into neighborhoods and communities. Month after month, I stood up and I said, this is going to come to a neighborhood near you. Well, we're here. We're here. We're getting no support on this national crisis, and we're receiving no support. And let me tell you something, New Yorkers. Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City. We're getting 10,000 migrants a month. One time we were just getting Venezuela. Now we're getting Ecuador. Now we're getting Russian-speaking coming through Mexico. Now we're getting Western Africa. Now we're getting people from all over the globe have made their minds up that they're going to come through the southern part of the border and come into New York City. And everyone is saying it's New York City's problem. Every community in this city is going to be impacted. We got a $12 billion deficit that we're going to have to cut. Every service in this city is going to be impacted. All of us. And so I say to you, as I turn it over to you, this is some of the most educated, some of the most knowledgeable, probably more of my commissioners and deputy commissioners and chiefs live in this community. So as you ask me a question about migrants, tell me what role you played. How many of you organized to stop what they're doing to us? How many of you were part of the movement to say, we're seeing what this mayor is trying to do, and they're destroying New York City? It's going to come to your neighborhoods. All of us are going to be impacted by this. I said it last year when we had 15,000. And I'm telling you now, with 110,000, the city we knew we're about to lose. And we're all in this together, all of us. Staten Island is saying, send them out to Manhattan. Manhattan is saying, send them out to Queens. Queens is saying, send them out to Brooklyn. No, it's not the game we can play. Open the floor up.
So why doesn't he talk about his Democratic Party that allows these kind of topics to go on? So, and now here's the other one, just kind of wanted to remind you in closing about what these people have planned for us. Again, they're already sticking masks on kids' faces. Well, just remember, just in retrospect, we played it for you a few months ago, but they chop us down on our views an awful lot. So just wanted to show you this. And just remember what these people have said.
They're only as good as the world allows them to be. I'll show you. When the chips are down, these civilized people, they'll eat each other. See, I'm not a monster. I'm just ahead of the curve.
You are the unvaccinated. You are the problem. It is the unvaccinated who are the problem, period, end of story.
The only people that you can blame, this isn't shaming, this is the truth. Maybe they should be shamed, are the unvaccinated.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks.
Anyone you came into contact with will blame you, as will the rest of us who have done the right thing by getting vaccinated.
Because frankly, we know that we can't trust the unvaccinated.
I think it's time to get our moral house in order, Anderson. It's the unvaccinated who are the threat.
All of us vaccinated folks are going to start wearing masks to protect the unvaccinated folks. It's called a Christian value.
You're basically punishing the vaccinated for the sins of the unvaccinated.
People are not behaving honorably. The unvaccinated are basically saying, well, it's open season for me. I can do whatever I want as well.
The unvaccinated are basically beating their breasts and running around the country saying, we don't care, we're living free and so forth.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
The unvaccinated, a group that includes children and people acting like children. And the rest of us are starting to get pissed off.
The vaccinated feel the unvaccinated are making me upset or angry.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
The other day, Howard Stern weighed in with a much different approach. Take a look.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? Their freedom.
But you're treading on our freedom and you're making other people sick, and really you're killing other people.
The anti-vaxxers, they seem to have a thing for death and home remedies.
The anti-maskers turned anti-vaxxers are not just putting their own lives at risk. If that was the issue, we could just say that we can watch them compete to win place or show in the Darwin Awards.
We have to start doing things for the greater good of society and not for idiots who think that they can do their own research.
And don't get me started on the lunatics who won't take any of the COVID vaccines.
Life is too short to be an ass. Life is way too short to be ignorant of the promise of something that is helping people worldwide.
Maybe you're doing it because you're disconnected or disorganized. Maybe you have some sympathetic psychological reasons. But maybe you're just being antisocial.
Oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly. Yes, they are.
Those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price.
The unvaccinated should be taxed. They should pay more for health care.
We need to start looking at the choice to remain unvaccinated the same as we look at driving while intoxicated.
We're going to see, and I've said, almost two types of America.
Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack, yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo, rest in peace, Wheezy.
Pointing back to the unvaccinated who are really creating a problem in this country, every death that we are seeing from COVID could have been prevented.
Literally, the only people dying are the unvaccinated. And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you.
And of course, let's top it off with the liar in chief. And when God's people turns away from him, or any nation that forgets God, he says that they would be turned into hell. And that's what these people have done. Mayors like this Eric Adams we just watched. And of course, this one. takes the cake. We'll see you next week. Have an enjoyable laugh on this one. Fight the good fight.
Now, we know many politicians have a strange relationship with the truth. They lie, embellish and evade, but there are not too many politicians, or even just regular human beings for that matter, who deliberately and repeatedly tell the sort of bold-faced lies that can be immediately debunked. But that's what Joe Biden has done throughout his political career. For 50 years, he has repeated verifiable lies over and over again. And yet, he has been elevated to the most powerful office in the world. We've brought you examples of his habitual lying as president. But let's take a stroll down memory lane and look at Joe Biden's extravagant plagiarising and lying. And you may be shocked to know his dodgy ways were evident even in college.
Joseph Biden admitted today that he committed plagiarism when he was in law school. He said it was a mistake, but that it was unintentional.
He quoted 5 pages of someone else's work without proper citation.
I've done some dumb things, and I'll do dumb things again.
He was given an F.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I've been dumb.
To the political community in Washington, it all seems of a piece. Plagiarism at law school, plagiarism on the stump.
The great communicator. Strike that. The great imitator.
You don't steal verbatim, or when you do, as he did 99% of the time, you give credit.
Biden's critics say he sells himself as a man whose words and visions can inspire a new generation in politics. But if the thoughts, phrases, and visions really belong to others, it's a form of false advertising.
Senator Joseph Biden may have more explaining to do.
The new questions stem from taped remarks of Biden during an April campaign appearance in New Hampshire.
I went to law school on a full academic scholarship, the only one in my class to have a full academic scholarship. Went back to law school and in fact ended up in the top half of my class. I was the outstanding student in the political science department at the end of my year. I graduated with 3 degrees from undergraduate school and 165 credits, only needed 123 credits.
Biden now concedes he did not graduate in the top half of his law school class, that he does not have 3 degrees from college, and that he was not named outstanding political science student in college.
Newsweek says Biden actually went to school on a half scholarship, ended up near the bottom of his class, and won only 1 degree, not 3.
Joe Biden ranked 76th in a class of 85 at the University of Syracuse Law School. I mean, this guy comes off this whole thing as a flyweight.
Now Biden says Newsweek is right. His memory had failed.
He claimed his memory failed him. Don't you hate it when that happens, when you think you graduated top of your class with 3 degrees, but you're actually one of the worst students in the class and only had 1 degree? Yeah, it's bad. Now, isn't it refreshing when you watch that to see news media do their job, call out the lying politician rather than provide cover for him? Let's have a look at an example of just how blatant Biden was in plagiarising someone else's life and stories to present as his own.
He used phrases identical to those delivered by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock.
Biden seemed to be claiming Kinnock's vision and life as his own.
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Gladys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get the university?
My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania and come up after 12 hours and play football.
8 hours underground and then come up and play football.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
There was no...
Just incredible stuff. And thanks to RNC Research for unearthing those old clips. Who would think that a pathological liar, not a good one, but one who lies about easily verifiable facts over and over again, would rise to be the leader of the free world? 81 million votes. Every word Donald Trump ever uttered has been fact-checked by activist reporters, but Biden managed to go through an entire presidential campaign without having to answer for his litany of lies. And even in office, the bulk of the media has ignored his habit of lying about verifiable facts, figures and events.